All right, hi everybody. I'm going to jump right in. So I was thinking about, as I was driving and now I'm stopped, I was thinking about a return on investment. And as a business owner, you know, you're going to have all these options and possibilities that come up, and you're going to be like, is that a good return on my money? Like, do I want to invest in this person, place, or thing? Are they, you know, if I invest in this, you know, person, are they going to help grow my company to the level that I want to take it to? You know, if I invest in this thing or this tool for my business, you know, if I get this laptop, is it going to help me become more efficient within my business? You know, and then like a place, like if I run my business as a mobile, you know, entrepreneur, is that going to get me an advantage over having a sticks and bricks, you know, business? So these are things that, as an entrepreneur, my mindset, my return on investment, I would be thinking of, what is my return on my investment? Is this worth my time, energy, attention? Okay. And I can see that very clearly with business, and you know, and I look at, you know, the decisions that I've made in my lifetime, and I can say, you know, I thought when I got involved with that particular association where I was volunteering my time to design logos and brochures and stuff for this organization, that it was going to help me to position myself and get the marketing visibility that I thought I was going to get. But then one bad egg, one bad person, and, you know, having somebody that was difficult, you know, the whole thing blew apart, as an example. So in that particular example, I'm saying, hey, I thought that this was a good investment, but it turned out to not be a good investment because of one person. Okay. And then it was like, all I wanted to do was just cut my losses and get out. Okay. And so in that particular case, I just accepted whatever losses, whatever investment I had in, and I walked away. Okay. Another example, you know, I was working with, doing a logo design for somebody, and it was like a package design, and bottom line, it was with a big corporate sponsor, and, you know, it was like one main person that I was dealing with, and it got down to the very end of the decision making and the final, you know, signing off on everything, and the point of purchase display is all ready, and the guy comes and he's a total jerk, and he's so rude to my staff, and he was treating me with disrespect, you know. And in that moment, I remember so distinctly getting out my checkbook and saying, excuse me a minute, going to get my checkbook, writing a check, and literally handing the guy the check for the full amount of what he had invested in. And I was like, get out of my you know, conference room, get out of my business, like, you need to leave. And I gave him his money back. And to me, it was like dealing with someone that was so obnoxious. It was worth it to me to give that person their money back, even though I lost on that investment. I didn't get a return on my investment because he treated my staff with such disrespect. And I was like, oh, hell no, you are not going to do that. Not in my place of business. You may get away with that with other places, but just get out. Like, I just don't even want to have anything to do with you, because I didn't want to be responsible for all the other obligations of the contract, because I didn't want to deal with this person anymore. So that's another example of, you think that things are going to be a good investment, but then you realize, nope, it wasn't a good investment. Okay. So those are examples of losses. And then I started to think about a relationship, and I started to like see this with different eyes. And this is what I went to. When I met Eric and we were at Peabody, and I was there for dance and he was there for music, and we were 15 years old, and we were young and we were inspired, and this is before the world had tainted us. We had not had trauma and drama at this point in our lives. We were innocent. Okay. We were fresh. And the bottom line is, how we approached one another was out of this, just, there's enough, there's abundance, you know, like, I respect you, you respect me, that kind of thing. Okay. But the reality is, years later, okay, we both went our separate paths, and years later, okay, when he sought me out, and again, he sought me out, I wasn't seeking him. Okay. And he tried to hook back in with the emotional memories of what we had as teenagers. So that was his hook, that was his lead in. And he used flattery, and he used, you know, emotions to get me to remember all these good times that we had. And then he paired it with, you know, hey, I'm really sorry I was a jerk, you know, when I did this and that. And you get what I'm saying? So he's making amends on top of it. And then the bottom line is, when I hear his story and I'm like, you know, who are you? What are you about these days? Like, what, you know, where have you been? And he tells me his story, okay? His story is obviously going to highlight all the positive parts. And he's basically going, I have this loft in New York, and, you know, I have this, you know, amazing, you know, RV that's like a bus, and, you know, I have all this money in an annuity, and, you know, I have, you know, all of these fans because I'm this VIP musician, and, you know, I have all these record deals that, you know, I'm just trying to choose which one I'm in the midst of right now. And you get what I'm saying? Like, he's just throwing out, as a man, when they're trying to puff up their ego and be like, hey, I'm so great, you should choose me. And this is what he was doing, okay? And I was like, you know, that really sounds great. I'm happy for you. But I'm gonna need some proof. And I didn't really say it that way, but the point is, I was like, oh, let's go visit your friend in New York, you know, and see your loft. There was no loft, okay? Let's go see this RV. You know, it was a piece of shit RV that was falling apart. But he had a story to say that it was blaming on the repair company that they messed up the RV. Do you get what I'm saying? So everything that had a story had a sub-story, and he was never taking responsibility for what he did or what he caused and the, you know, state of affairs of what he had. And he didn't have a car when I met him. And his story was, well, I just got back from being on tour, and, you know, I just don't really like to drive anyway, and it's just easier for me to not have a car. Okay, so what I'm getting at is all of these things, he had a quick answer for it. And again, I'm thinking, whatever he chooses to do is on him. If he prefers to Uber or get a friend to drive him, well, that's on him. Like, I like driving. I would never give up my driving ability if I, you know, unless I'm absolutely, you know, like, I love driving. But what I'm getting at is that everybody has their story and their backstory and their cover story, okay? And, you know, when he would say, oh, well, I've got this gig and this contract, I'd be like, oh, wow, that sounds really great. Let me, if you want, I can look over your contract if you are, like, you know, having issues with choosing which one you want to do. I can help you look over things. So the point is, I offered what I knew how to do to try to see and verify, like, was he really for real or not? And sure enough, there were certain things that he most certainly produced as a piece of paper that was certifying that he had this gig, or he had this contract, or he had this possibility. And therefore, he created this illusion that, you know, he's really doing his thing, okay? And what I'm getting at is, that's how the hook comes, okay? And I was looking at, oh, he was this amazing guy when I knew him as